quite early on in the book, there's a big role model for me and for people of my generation. She's pretty much a forgotten figure now, but her name was Nancy Spain, and she was a journalist. Basically, she was a butch in plain sight, an absolute living butch. And she was never really out, but she was never really in either. She just lived her life. And because this was Britain of the 1950s, people would say, well, she's an eccentric. She's a bohemian, but eccentric was the preferred phrase. And everybody, a lot of people, in plain sight, people went, oh, it's Nancy Spain. But to people who did know, we had gaydar even before gaydar was invented. They loved her. It's Nancy, men and women, because there were very few people around, especially butch dykes, in the media. And this would have been about 1956 when we got our first telly, and I thought, oh, she's lovely. And tragically, she and her partner, a magazine publisher, they were killed in 1964 in a airplane crash on the way to cover the Grand National horse race in Liverpool. And so her life was cut short just a few years before gay liberation. I don't know what she'd have made of it, actually, because I think Nancy would have probably thought she was pretty liberated herself. But you see, we needed role models, and she was one of the very, very few role models we had then. And she was very dashing. She was very piratical, actually. Rumoured to have had an affair with Marlene Dietrich. She did. And had a long-term relationship with the Paris editor of Vogue. And she was a bit of a one, actually.